Come on. There we go. Hey, what's up, Hacksters? Happy Monday. It's been a while. I've been out of the country for 3 weeks, and I'm finally back in the office, and I wanted to get back to you on a couple of things that we've mentioned before. Actually, one of them is an old thing, one of them is a new thing. The old thing, which is also a new thing, is Sparkfun's Artemis module. So this teeny tiny little module, woo! It's this small and it can do machine learning for voice recognition and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. I did an unboxing on it a while ago, which you can find in the description to this video. It is also at Hackster.io/videos/359, and you can also just look for Sparkfun Artemis unboxing. I go through a bunch of cool stuff about this module in there, including some links about where you can buy it, and how you can develop with Arduino, which is super cool, and how to design an actual product around this. And this is kind of central to today's video as well. So the original one that they sent us was an amazing package with both the module itself as well as these 3 development boards based around it. So we've got all of these have USB-C connectors, and you can power them with external batteries, either with the LiPo connector here or from DC or barrel jacks in through there. You've got onboard microphones, so you can do voice recognition even on this guy. It's ridiculous. It's teeny tiny and got a ton of little feedback LEDs and stuff. You've got quick connectors, you've got onboard Bluetooth, and you can do machine learning, as I mentioned already. These are amazing modules, but there's a new kid in town. The thing is that these are not certified for use in products. You can use them for prototyping and development, but you might get in trouble if you actually try to build something around them. So what's new about this is that they've just sent us a new box. With a cute little thank you card. Look at this. Wow. And the certified versions of these, which are red. Ta-da! So here we have the Uno form factor in the original black for the development version, which is now discontinued, and the FCC certified version, which is this red guy. I do love the matte black though. Another cool thing about these is that they can all be powered off coin cells. Look at that. Have you ever seen like an Arduino Mega size board with that can be run off of a coin cell? It's ridiculous. And here's the red version of that one. Where's the little mini guy? Here we are. The little more sort of Arduino Nano sized one. Same thing, just with certification, and so it's red instead of black. And finally, the module, which is still red. The original one was as well, but now it comes in its own little reel capsule thing. It's snipped off of a reel, and that's because you can order these in bulk quantities of 250 and up and get bulk pricing on them as well, which you can find in a link at the bottom of the product page on Sparkfun. They could describe the whole family here if you just go to the Artemis brand page, but once you go to the module itself, you can just click on volume sales pricing here, and it'll take you to a page where you can learn about that. So this is super cool. And talking about all of this in an interview with our own blogger, Alistair Allen, is the founder of Sparkfun, Nate Seidel, and he talks about all kinds of cool stuff. One of the main things here, and one of the main drivers, the motivating factors of the whole Artemis project, is that you can develop on it as though it were a regular Arduino. And here Alistair's got a nice glamour shot of all the boards side by side. You can develop on it as though it were an Arduino Uno, and it runs natively. You don't have to tweak your code in any way to make it specially work with these boards. But when it comes to actually making a product around it, it's way easier to source these than it is to take something to market with an Atmega chip. And that's one of the key things that Nathan mentions in the article, is that it's basically friendly for everyone who's just starting out as a maker, just as easy as an Uno, but then once you want to actually go further and turn it into something super official, then it becomes way easier than the Uno to turn into something that's mass producible. And he talks about how they designed this module so that the pads on the bottom are easy to work with. The new one does have a can around it that the old one didn't. I don't know if you can tell on this tiny little, but see how all the stuff is exposed there? And here you've got this nice little can around it. Yeah, super nice. And yeah, so this is the whole thing about it being much easier to source these. You can read about the history of the project as well. Oh, and it's open source, I think. I could be wrong there. I should check that. And what was the other cool thing about it? Oh yeah, it goes into why they chose this Apollo system for the chip in the first place. It has a ton of capabilities. It's really powerful, and it's also not that expensive. They don't mention that so much in the article, but it seems like a huge win. Here he's talking about the fact that they wanted... I'll just let you read the article, because I already said some of this stuff. But basically, it's really flexible, it's really friendly to beginners, and it's really friendly once you do want to bring something more into the market. Here we go. Here's the open source aspect of the module. Nate talks about personally designing the module himself, which is pretty cool as well. Apparently they had already built some stuff that required them to get components put on a tape and reel, so that ended up being surprisingly easy. And also the certification seems like it was not that awful. And hopefully they'll give us some more info on that in the future, we'll see. Yeah, tons of interesting stuff. And really exciting to finally have these be available in a factor where you can turn it into a product on its own. Super cool. Oh, now I have so many boards. I have to figure out stuff to do with them. I'm really keen on the voice recognition machine learning aspect of it. I think that is something that I want to do lots and lots more of, especially robots talking to each other. Imagine one of them doing speech synthesis and then another one sort of decoding that and having them talk to each other in weird little human voices. That could be super cool. And all kinds of other stuff too. There's they actually link to this AI on a microcontroller with TensorFlow Lite and Sparkfun Edge, which is the predecessor to these boards. The Edge, which was much larger, but could also run on a coin cell. Still amazing, an amazing board, and had a camera out as well, which these ones do not. So, the second thing I wanted to talk about is that I started playing around with SonicPi. Thanks to a couple of friends' recommendations. This is something that comes on your Raspberry Pi these days. If you get a new one, it'll ship with it. And it's a really powerful platform for live coding music. I've seen a couple of performances now where people were on a stage with a laptop, as you do as a DJ these days. You know, people have opinions on that, but the keyboard is actually necessary here. You're commenting and uncommenting things, typing things in, and changing the music with code as it's playing. So it's like a really interactive, nerdy concert, and it's super cool. And I wanted to learn how to do some of this stuff, partly so that I can have a soundtrack in the back of these videos and have it be generative, or at least sort of morphing over time, and not being super monotonous, but also I wouldn't have to worry about copyright. And so that's partly why I'm getting into SonicPi. And while I was away, in fact, especially while I was on the plane back yesterday, I had a 12-hour journey, I started going through this tutorial, which is actually built into the SonicPi software itself, which I should actually pull up for you. Let's see. I'll show you what that looks like. It's really friendly, and I like it a lot. Here we go. Yes. So you've got all these little preferences up there. You've got run and stop and record and stuff. You can save it, you can load the files. You have 9 or 10 buffers at the bottom of this page, which I should make smaller so that you can see them. There you go. And those basically are your different sort of files that you have open that you're playing around in, and you can switch between. And then you have a sort of log over to the right side. We've got this oscilloscope, which shows what's playing. I'm going to play this right now, but it's not going to sound like anything because I've got my microphone plugged in. But you can see that it's giving you an oscilloscope feedback, and also feedback on where in the timeline you are and what's going on, which is super cool. You can either feed it pitch values based on what key on a piano keyboard it would be that's like numbered, so like note 55, note 78, etc. Those are actually like the 75th and 58th or whatever key on a piano. But you can also go outside the range of a piano. I wonder, can you do negative ones, I wonder? Well, even if you're going with this system, though, like, you know, can you go below 0? Anyway, that's something for later exploration. I'm going to actually play this for you a minute, but what I was playing around with was, I'm not sure how to pronounce it correctly, but Gimnopédie or something like that by Erik Satie. Which is a really beautiful piece of music and also happens to be really well quantized to measures. So it's like bum, 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 bum. Everything, at least so far, and everything that I can remember in the piece is on a very strict sort of 3 beats per measure time scale. So there's not a ton of like switching to like 8th or 16th notes and stuff. It's very friendly to coding. And also it's something that I think I could play around with and turn into a generative piece of music very easily. And it also, unfortunately, tends to make me very sleepy when I listen to it. But it's kind of a really nice and dreamy piece of music to start with. So I shared the code for that I've got so far in a gist on GitHub, which I've linked in the description to this video again. And also, I link you to the place where you can get the sheet music if you want to play around with this or another tune. MuseOpen is a great resource for getting free sheet music for pieces that are in the public domain. And you should totally support them on Patreon because they do this wonderful work. Speaking of which, you can also support Sonic Pi on Patreon. Where does it say? Ah, yes. Please support us on Patreon to help keep Sonic Pi free. So the thing with Sonic Pi is that, obviously, I'm running this on my PC right now, which is not a Raspberry Pi. I'm on a Mac. You can get it for Mac and Windows as well as running it on your Pi. And so that's how I've been exploring it so far. But it could be really fun to embed it on a Pi inside a project and then have a device like a Teensy or something giving it inputs as though it were a keyboard. For example, that could be interesting. There's all kinds of different hardware ways you could go with this. Besides just straight up embedding a Pi into your project, you could have live modifications going on with like a joystick or a button or something like that. I'm not to that point yet, but I hope to be soon. And hopefully we'll have another like musical Monday about that in the future. They've got a really wonderful tutorial that I'm working my way through. I kind of got off the rails a little bit, but I think that's how you're supposed to do it. I went off and started just like playing around with one of my favorite Pretty Little songs and trying to turn that into code. And it's worked pretty well already. So I'm going to sign off pretty soon, but I want to give you a taste of what it sounds like. And hopefully this will actually work. Let's see. Make sure that this, all right. So I'm going to start it in Sonic Pi and turn the volume up. The sound quality may not be that great, but you can always load it up and play it up for yourself. I think we're getting some clipping. But it's gonna be hard to hear the low notes. There's some like low notes in there. You probably know this piece already. Anyway, so that goes on, and it's just so pretty. I can't wait to code more of it. That's about all I've got done so far, but I definitely intend to do some more with it. And also start coding some more stuff into there, and maybe doing some mashups, because you can throw in like actual samples of voices and stuff as well. There's all kinds of things you can do with it. I feel like I had, oh yeah, the other cool thing is that I was in Berlin and we went to a couple of synth stores and looked at analog synthesizers, and it turns out that if you're learning about things like attack, decay, sustain, and release, and envelopes, and stuff like that, you can code your own synths in this as well. So you can learn about that by going through this tutorial. Cool! They like tell you about the different ways that you can shape the waves and stuff. Oh, it's so rad. So anyway, hopefully this two-part video makes up a little bit for my absence over the last couple weeks. I highly recommend that you check out the other videos I published while I was gone, though. There was an amazing one. I mean, I don't know how amazing the video one was, but the experience of making it was super cool. There's this museum of Soviet arcade machines that I went to that's absolutely incredible, and you should definitely watch this video because it's full of cool stuff. Anyway, that's all I got for you tonight. I will see you again very soon, tomorrow probably. Check out the Artemis if you want to do really cool badass stuff with hardware, and I hope that you play around with Sonic Pi a little bit because it's super fun and cool. Have an awesome night and hack on.